Mole. Holy shamole. It's the bathroom in the background for me. Hold on. Okie dokie, schmokities. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name is Nicole and I'm a person in recovery. My sobriety date is July 13th of 2015 and I'm feeling a lot better today than I was the other day. Super depressed the other day. Hey Sybil, what's up, girl? Hey Marilyn, how you doing, honey? Make sure that's plugged in. Hey Diana, what's up, girl? Yeah, it's easy to find me. You can find me anywhere under. If you guys ever want to find me and you're still looking around, you can type in Real Talk Recovery on Google, on here, and you'll find me. It'll bring me up. So
even on.
What are you doing here?
Getting cereal.
No more. You just ate dinner. Let it digest. Let it digest.
Well, what can I drink or eat?
You can have one of your protein shakes, but that's it. No more food. You just ate 2 big bowls of chicken and rice, and that's a lot of food, mate. You don't want to be turning out like your mama, okay? We got to eat healthy, and we got to control. Just because we're sitting in front of the TV doesn't mean we're hungry. It means we're bored, okay? Now give me a hug. Tell me you love me.
Hug.
I love you. Okay. I used to do the same thing when I was younger, so I'm trying to help him not to do the same thing I did, which is I would sit in front of the TV because I would get bored, and I would eat because I was bored. And I just now fed him chicken and rice. Hey Dawn, hey Wendy, hey Shelly. No, I have not gotten off of Suboxone yet. I will probably be off by December, January. I'm not sure. I'm taking my time. We're not, honestly, you guys, like I'm not rushing right now because I got a lot going on in my personal life. I got a lot going on in my professional life, and I just want to make sure that I am making the best choices possible right now. Oops. And just keeping my sobriety first. Okay? So, what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight is shame and guilt. Hey, Amanda, I'm so glad you're here. Hey, everybody that's coming over from TikTok, what's up? Thanks for coming over. I'm so glad you guys are here. I usually do this every Monday and Friday at 7 p.m. here on YouTube, but on TikTok, I do it Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9. So if you miss me here at 7, you can catch me on Mondays and Fridays at 9 on TikTok. I've been doing really good over there, and I really enjoy it. Because TikTok has a way of feeding your content out while you're live, so it brings new people in all the time. How many milligrams did you jump off at, Dawn? So tonight, you guys, I wanted to talk to you guys. One of my girls that I've been working with has been struggling with some guilt and shame, and we thought it would be a good idea to talk about it tonight. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give it, we're not even 5 minutes into the video. So right now, we're just going to take time to say our hellos. Welcome everybody that comes in. Anybody that's new, welcome to Real Talk Recovery. If you guys are interested in doing like one-on-one recovery coaching stuff with me, you can join my Patreon, which is at Real Talk Recovery also. If you guys want to see more videos more consistently, you can check out my TikTok, my Instagram. I'm always uploading content there, and I upload content here on YouTube at least 3 times a week. So you're never going to be bored. I have thousands and thousands of videos here on YouTube that you guys can watch that are literally fucking liquid gold. Okay, like I tell story times. We laugh, we put makeup on, we do everything around here. We're not perfect. We have a good time. I'm just a girl in the world trying to do the right thing, you know, and help people. We have a blast on my channel though. So, hey girl, hey Christine, 2 mil. Okay, so Dawn, that's awesome. I'm really proud of you. Why did you jump off at 2? Why didn't you go down a little bit lower? Hey Jeff. So all my friends are coming. Yay. Okay. So let me give you guys a little update on how my week went this week, and then we'll get started on guilt and shame. So this week was a little bit of a trial and tribulation for me. You guys here on Real Talk Recovery, you guys have been with me for 4 years. Okay, I started my channel in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, 4 years. You guys know my intentions, my motives, my heart, all that. I just been struggling because a couple of people that I thought that were my very, very good friends questioned my motives, and it really hurt my feelings. But you know, I had to think back, and I want to share something with you guys, and I want to admit a mistake I made like 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, I started my YouTube channel, and I became really good friends with Derek Lambert. I'm still really good friends with him to this day. I love him so much. Well, I became really good friends with Derek Lambert. And then Derek's channel started to grow substantially. And so he started a Patreon. And I remember, you want to go say? I remember being so, I was mad at him because he started a Patreon. Because in my little closed-minded 12-step, y'all remember I started out on the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. In my little closed-minded 12-step mind, I thought that you couldn't coach people or offer services to people if you were in recovery, and that you shouldn't do it. So I remember when Derek made his Patreon and he was offering different services on there, I got really mad and I called him out. And I made a video about it and everything, and we ended up not being friends for a whole year because of it. You never understand what somebody is going through until you walk a mile in their shoes. Until you guys gain a substantial amount of people following you on platforms on social media and getting thousands of messages a day, then you have no idea the work that goes into maintaining a platform, a social media platform, especially when you're using that platform to help other people. So before I knew what it was like, I judged him for the very same thing many people are judging me for. And so this is my chance. I've already apologized to him, but I want to publicly apologize because now I understand. Now I understand what it's like to have hundreds of people messaging you on just one platform. On TikTok alone, I wake up to 50 to 100 messages a day. Okay? Here on YouTube, I get emails, messages, text messages to the Real Talk Recovery phone line. Okay? Not to mention my boss's emails, phone line, and messages. So I'm not just handling my own stuff. I'm a social media marketing manager. I handle somebody else's social medias. So I really learned the hard way to not judge somebody because of something that you believe to be true when I didn't even know. So let me share something with you guys. You can absolutely get a sponsor through AA or NA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and that's a free thing, right? Nobody should ever charge you to be your sponsor. But if you're somebody who doesn't want to work the 12 steps, if you're somebody who wants to try a different route to recovery, an open-minded, non-judgmental, new pathway with somebody that you trust, like me or Derek or whoever else is offering the service, and it's a reasonable service, they're not trying to take you out to the cleaners, do it. It's worth it. I see so many people that have recovery coaches, interventionists, all kinds of stuff, and it's helping them because we're getting away from the one way of recovering, which is that one way 12-step model that has been done for so many years. So I really want to drive this home with people. I am not a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I am not affiliated with them. I am not sponsoring people through those programs. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm not even nothing. I'm here to help people, and we're doing a different way, okay? We're not doing that way. And if you go back to the beginning of my YouTube channel, you guys will see where I made videos all the time about the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I did step studies, and they were amazing videos, and I will leave them up because there are people, hey guys, who need to see those videos and who they do help, because I want everyone to find their own way, okay? I don't want you guys to think that because I'm not doing the 12 steps that you shouldn't do them. Like, I think they're amazing. but that's just not my pathway anymore. Oh, yes, I feel so much better. Thank you for asking, baby. So now I understand. Now I understand. When I first started my channel, there was only like 50 of you guys here. I could handle talking to all 50 of you on the phone, you know, and now it's more than that. I cannot do it by myself anymore, and I'm not going to do it to the point where I am taking time away from my family and not tending to them. So now that we got that out of the way, just wanted to clear that up. And anybody that doesn't believe that I should charge for recovery coaching, then don't do it. You don't have to buy the services. That's the great thing about being grown-ass adults, is that nobody has to I'm not taking you, put your arm behind your back and breaking it and taking your wallet out of your fucking pocket. And I will even dare to say this. I know a lot of y'all that just throw money at people on social media. Y'all be sending them fucking gifts and $100 and all kinds of shit. And I'm over here charging $10 for a fucking 30-minute phone call so that way we can do some damn recovery shit. And y'all are acting like I'm over here taking people's cash out of the back end of their pocket. I see people all the time throwing donations, hundreds of dollars. I see it all the time on live streams here on YouTube, especially on bigger YouTube channels like Death. Get $100 fucking dollar sign across the screen. What? What? And then you got somebody like me who's actually trying to help somebody and provide a service. And you guys are, not you guys, but these people are acting like I am literally over in here bending people over and fucking them raw. Okay? Like, do y'all understand? One more thing. Do people understand how many hours a day that I am on this fucking social media shit? I wish you guys just knew how many hours a day it takes to make sure that you are getting to everybody that reaches out to you, not leaving them there hanging, because that's what happens. So many people say, I'll help you. And then you reach out to them and what do you get? You get an animated fucking message back. Well, that's not how it is with us. When you message me, you get a message back from me. It's not a fucking computer sending it to you. Okay, so, you know, for those of you guys that have any questions, you know, think about that. And until you've walked a mile in my shoes and you've been doing it for 4 years for nothing, then you can judge after that. But until you have been down here and you have been doing this shit, you have no idea. And I used to say the same thing. Oh, it would be so easy. It's a lot more work than you ever understand. So anyway, now that I'm done with my high horse shit, that's one way to like literally make me never want to talk to you again, is to judge my character like I would actually be over here taking advantage of somebody. Like, we all know that if you don't know that that's not what I do, then you don't know me at all. And you haven't been watching any of my content for the last 4 years. You don't know my heart, any of that. So, shame and guilt. So, okay, so we were just on TikTok and I was sharing with everybody about when I gave birth to my son, I was under the influence of methamphetamine. And that's one thing that whenever I talk about it, like, I can't even help it, you guys, because I just feel so much guilt and shame still to this day, talking about it and thinking about how I could have killed my son and how he could have been born. My son is a miracle. That's the only way I can explain it. Like, every time I try to think of the reason why my son is perfectly fine and healthy, I cannot think of any other explanation than that my son is a miracle and that God saved my son's life, because it wasn't because of me. I was not taking care of myself when I was in active addiction. I wasn't taking care of anything. I was just a hot mess. And so, for me, with shame and guilt, it's something that I have to, like, not focus on all the time, or else I will keep myself in a really bad spot. So when I first got sober, I would think about it all the time. I would think about how I was when I was pregnant, how my son, because of me, got taken away from me because of my addiction, right? And so instead of processing it in a healthy way and talking about it and letting it out and writing it down or journaling or talking to my counselor or therapist, like I would internalize it until I would go to my therapist or my counselor at the time, and I would literally sit in her office for like 2 hours, you guys, crying and just talking about all these things that I have been internalizing and beating myself up about, right? The wrong way to go. Oh, Diana, I understand, girl. And you know what? I think we are so much harder on ourselves than anybody else, you know? But I would keep it inside and I wouldn't talk about it. And it made me sick. It made me to the point where, like, I even thought about getting high because I was so mad at myself. And just, like, it's almost like I knew myself when I was sober, when I was a kid, right? And so when I was 17 years old, like, I know the kind of person I am. I'm a good person. Like, I don't want to hurt anyone. And to think that my addiction had such a stronghold on me that I risked my child's life, like, that just puts it into perspective so much for me on how strong the disease of addiction is. Because I would never do any of those things today in my right mind. I would never put my son in harm's way in my right mind. But when I was in my active addiction, I would do whatever it took to get what I needed to get. And if that meant I was putting my son in danger, then that's what it meant. You know, I see a lot of people that it happens a lot on social media where they'll hear somebody's story and they'll judge them, just like I was telling you guys earlier about, if you haven't been in someone's shoes, then you don't know. Just like I judged Derek for starting his Patreon 3 or 4 years ago, people do the same thing to me when I share that I used drugs while I was pregnant. They think, oh, I would never do that, you know. But until you know what that person is experiencing and what they're going through, then you will never know if you would do that or not. You will never know until you're put in that position. And I was the same way. I used to look at people who use drugs and say, I'll never do that. I used to say, I'll never shoot up. I used to say, I'll never suck dick for a fucking pill. I used to say, I'll never hustle an old man for his money and then leave him high and dry. I said, I'll never steal a car. I'll never go into the mall and steal purses 6 or 7 at a time and sell them to a fucking dope man. I used to say all the same shit. All the same shit. And see, what happens is you reach a point in your addiction where the things that you said you would never do, one by one, little by little, you start crossing them off your list of things that you said you'd never do, and you start making exceptions. Well, it's not that bad. I mean, I'm just stealing from corporations like Walmart and Dillard's and Shoe Carnival, right? Right? It's not that bad. That's our justification. Or my mom and dad have so much money, they won't even notice this $20 bill out of their purse gone, right? Or writing my prescriptions for myself. That doctor fucking is cheap anyway. He's not giving me enough. I'm going to make my own prescription. Just whatever it is. Whatever justification that I could think of. I'm sure you guys have done the same things. I would do it to make excuses for myself and justify and rationalize why I was going to the next level in my addiction, when all actuality, I had no control over whether I was going to the next level or not, because I lost the power of choice. And that's what happens when you become a drug addict. You don't make choices for yourself anymore. Drugs and alcohol make choices for you. And that is the delusion that we have in our minds, that we are controlling our addiction. And that's another thing. Like, when people they call themselves functioning addicts because they have a job or they're driving a car, they're in a delusion also, because they see, because they have a car, a job, a home, they haven't had their kids taken away, they think that they're in control. But they're not in control, just as much as I'm not in control and I'm over on 12th Street hooking or whatever. It doesn't matter if you are fucking living in a fucking mansion with millions of dollars in the bank and you're using cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, and then there's somebody underneath a bridge on the same thing. Y'all are both out of control. You know, I see a lot of people, and I've never been like that because I never had, I was always out of control. But I see a lot of people who think because they're able to manage their lives, they think they're managing. You're not managing if you're fucking shooting up dope, okay? You're not managing if you are taking your children to the dope man's house with you. You're not managing just because your kids are in fucking school and going to dance class in the evening. Because we're not truly present when we are using drugs and alcohol. And that's another thing that I felt so much shame and guilt about when I got sober, was because even though my son was only 1 year old, I wasn't present. I was high raising my child. Okay, so it didn't matter how much I got on the ground while I was high and rolled around and played with him. That was not me. I am not that person. That is not being present. That is not taking care of my child. Okay? And I will never make excuses. I was a terrible mother in my active addiction. I was not doing good. I was not taking care of my son. I was not present. There's no way to be on drugs and to take care of your children. You might think that you're managing it, but you're not. And eventually it'll catch up to you. You know, I used to beat myself up when I got sober because I knew, I can't even remember the first year of my son's life. Honestly, I can't remember it. I remember the second year of his life because he got taken away from me 2 days before his first birthday. And that's when I got sober. But I don't remember the first year of my little boy's life because I was high on drugs the whole time. I barely remember giving birth to him, and the only reason I do remember is because it was such a fucking miracle that he didn't get taken away from me that I was straight tripping, you know? And so all these things that I did in my active addiction, they tally up to this huge mountain of shame and guilt, you know? And here in society, we're taught that we should be ashamed and we should hide out. We shouldn't tell anybody what we've gone through. And for the longest time, that's what I thought. I was like, I'm not telling anybody any of this shit. Like, they're going to judge me. They won't like me. They won't want to be my friend. They will think I'm a loser, a bad person, right? I am so glad that I told people my story. I'm so glad that God gave me the ability to share it, you guys. Oh, Diana, I know, girl, it's okay. Are calling themselves functioning addicts, and it's so sad to see them going downhill, but they don't see it for themselves. Ashley, I understand. And here's the thing, you guys. When somebody is justifying their use and they are, just because they still are employed or they have a couple of bucks in the bank, all that is justification. Because deep down inside of their heart, they know what they're doing is wrong. We were not created and placed on this earth to check out and be high all day long. You know, we were created and put on this earth so we could have emotional connections with people and be present and love each other and make families and all that kind of stuff, right? And so when we're using substances to check out a life, that's not functioning in any way, shape, or form, you know? And I see so many people on TikTok talking about being functioning addicts. And I just sit back and watch and chuckle a little bit, because if you keep going down the functioning addict road, eventually you'll get to a point where you're not functioning anymore and you're barely fucking maintaining your life and you're like losing everything. You know what I mean? But excuse me, I could have let shame and guilt keep me from doing a lot of things that I have decided to do in my recovery. I could have kept secrets and not shared what really went on and how, and I almost did. I almost didn't share about using drugs when I was pregnant because I was so worried about what other people would think. But you know, then you know what I realized? Who gives a fuck what they think? They're not here helping me take care of my son. Those people aren't. They're not going to be they're not going to be up in heaven whenever God says, okay, Nichole, am I going to let you in heaven? They're not going to be there. Like, I just used to put so much stock into what people thought about me to the point where it kept me handicapped from having a good life, from having happiness in my life. Even at the beginning of my YouTube channel, I remember wanting to be a part of the recovery community on YouTube so bad. And now I am so glad that where I'm at today, because I figured out I'm not somebody who just gets behind the leader and follows along down the track. I'm separated from that. I'm a different kind of person. You know what I mean? And you guys got to find your place too. You got to find what makes you excited about being sober, and what makes you want to be in recovery. If you're a mom and you are using your children as motivation and they're helping you stay sober, I promise you, if you keep on doing that, eventually what will happen is you'll be like me, and you'll get to a point where you're like, you know what? I want to be sober for me. I used to just want to be sober for Nathaniel because I didn't care. I don't want to be sober. I didn't want to not be on drugs. I loved getting high, y'all. I would be lying to you if I told you I didn't like it. And so for the first couple of years, I was just going through the motions, listening to what people told me to do, and, letting myself just kind of find my way. And the longer I kept going, the more I started thinking, like, maybe this is right. And you have to find a purpose in what you're doing to stay sober. If it means that, okay, I'm a mom and my purpose is taking care of my children, that's great and everything, but find something outside of that. Because what happens is, to us moms and dads too, is we put so much into our kids and then we forget about ourselves. You know what I mean? Hey, Sandra, what's up, girl? And so I have had to step away from myself and actually start doing stuff for me, not just Nathaniel, which is the hardest thing for me to do, because I feel like I owe my son so much because of what happened to him when he was little. I don't know if I'll ever be able to let go of the shame and guilt that I have from getting Nathaniel taken away from me. And I know that he does not remember, but I still, to this day, cannot let that shit go. I will probably take it to the grave and beat myself down with it. And Sybil, when your kids leave, then you're like, well, what do I do now? Because I don't have anybody to put all this time and effort into. And then you're left with yourself. And that's when shit can get real weird. You know what I mean? So finding something, you guys, that you are passionate about doing. Girl, it could literally be, Sybil, you could find it. What helps me is finding groups of people that I relate to and kind of doing stuff with them, whether it be on social media or in real life, right? But you gotta do something for you. I know my mom is going through the same thing because me and my sisters are all moved out, and she'll call me all the time. And I'm like, Mom, what do you want? I just talked to you 10 minutes ago. You know what I mean? And I know it's because my mom was the same way. She was a mom that literally gave her all to me and my sisters. And we were her. Her life was centered around her children. And so then whenever we left, it's like, what do I do now? Luckily, my mom got a job, and she does all kinds of stuff now. But for a little while, she was kind of lonely. And that's kind of how it is for us when we get rid of drugs. All the drugs go away. All the crazy people we hung out with goes away. All the wild times go away, and we're left alone with ourselves. And when you're alone with yourself, a lot of you guys are going to start freaking the fuck out, because you know what? You don't know how to be alone with yourself. You don't know how to look yourself in the mirror and say, I love myself today, because you don't. You don't love yourself at all. And so it's uncomfortable to be alone. It's uncomfortable to not have all that chaos around you that kept you entertained and busy from focusing on you and what you really needed to be working on, which is becoming a better person, helping other people, working, building healthy relationships. This old counselor I used to have, she would always say that the reason why we would say we were bored is because we were actually at peace. We didn't have no drama or chaos going on. So I remember I'd come into our groups and I'd be like, I'm so fucking bored. And she'd be like, you're not bored. You just can't stand yourself. You don't love yourself. So you don't want to be alone with yourself. And so you say you're bored. My husband's the same way. My husband's the same way. He gets agitated and stuff. And I know it's because he is struggling, not loving himself. And when he finally learns how to love himself, he will be okay with just being. You know what I'm saying? But that's one of the biggest things that people have problems with in early sobriety is thinking that they're bored or thinking that they're missing out on things, but it's not. He has 60 days on the 22nd, so in a couple days. They think they're bored. They think that they're missing out. And guess what? It's not that. It's that you can't stand yourself. It's okay. I couldn't stand myself either. And it got even worse as the longer I stayed sober. You know why? Because then I started reflecting and learning about how I was a piece of shit. I started learning about how I hurt and harmed the people in my life that loved me. I started really reflecting on the fact that I put my son in harm's way. Damn near killed him while I was pregnant with him. I started looking at the fact that I treated my mom and dad like shit for fucking 13 years. And they fucking raised me and gave me everything. Okay? I started realizing the fact that any man that I dated, I would cheat on him and I would just be not a good girlfriend. I started realizing that friends that were actually my friends, the reason they weren't my friends anymore is because I fucking sucked them dry. Because I was a drug addict leech who just took from everybody. If I couldn't get what I needed to make me feel good, I was on to the next one. And so when I was slapped in the face with the harsh reality that I was a fucking piece of shit in my active addiction, then it's like, damn, what am I going to do now? And I remember crying and crying and crying. I remember doing a 4th step with my sponsor and crying because I'm like, damn, man, I really fucked up. I really hurt people. And deep down inside of my heart, my genuine character, my person, I never want to hurt anyone. You know, but that's what I did when I was in my addiction. And I thought because I was in my addiction that I was only getting high and hurting myself. But that is the biggest lie an addict can tell themselves to make themselves feel better. If you have family, friends, even if they disowned you and you're using drugs, you are killing them slowly. And the reason why I know that is because when my husband was relapsing, it was killing me slowly. I would cry every single day. I couldn't go to sleep at night. I had ulcers in my stomach burning and hurting because I worried 24/7, 7 days a week. And so when you realize, damn, this is the pain that I caused, the pain that I'm experiencing right now is the pain that I caused my parents, my baby sisters, my own child. It's really, really fucking tough to swallow that shit, y'all. And you better make sure that you're working with somebody who's been down the road before you, because when the dick of reality slaps you in the face with life, then you're going to realize, damn, I fucked up. What do I do now? How do I fix this? And it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to wake up one day and be like, I'm sober now. My life is great. Like, it's literally been almost 6 years since I got sober, and I'm still like fucking waking up and going, is this real life? Like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to make it till tomorrow? And you know what I mean? Like, am I going to be okay? I mean, you guys see it all the time. I come on here, if I'm having a bad day, I'm going to cry my eyes out and tell y'all I'm having a bad day. If I'm depressed, I'm going to come on here and be honest about it, right? And that is all what comes with getting sober and becoming present, becoming awakened, okay? Because when you're in your active addiction, you're a fucking sleep, okay? There's a wool pulled over your eyes. You're walking like a zombie in a land with blinders on. And then whenever you get sober, the blinders don't come off. They don't come off yet, okay? You still have like these hazy glasses on, but you can see a little bit better. And then when you start working on yourself and learning about all the bad shit you did and how you harmed people and how you need to do better and what you can do to become better, then all of a sudden the fog comes off the glasses and you're like, damn, what the fuck is going on here? Whoa, whoa. And that's what happened to me. It freaked me the fuck out when I realized how bad I hurt my fucking family, because my family is everything to me. It hurt me so bad when it finally hit me that because of me, because of my actions, my son could have been dead. He could have been born with no limbs. He could have came out mentally ill or developmentally delayed. He could have had no eyeballs, no tongue, all kinds of stuff, right? And when you really think about that as a woman who carried a baby for 9 months, and you have, it's really, really, really fucking hard, and you feel horrible, but then you know that you're doing the right thing now. So how do you let go of that? It's so hard. It is so hard. You know, all of my family and stuff, I feel bad about that, but I've like gotten through that shame and guilt. And I've also made living amends to my parents, and they have forgiven me, and we've gotten to talk about it. But my son can't forgive me because he's just a little boy. He doesn't even know, you know what I mean? But I know what happened, and I know that I put him in a really bad position, and that he could not be alive because of me. And so when you get sober and all these things start rushing to you and you start experiencing all this shame and guilt, honestly, you guys, the best thing I can tell you to do is to fucking talk about it, is to reach out and talk to somebody else about it, you know? I know people say you need to forgive yourself. You guys, it's not even about forgiving myself. It's something I will never let go of. It is something that I will always have, because you know why? Because of that, I will never repeat that same behavior. And that is one of the great things about my story and my recovery, is that I can use those horrible times in my life as a deterrent to keep me sober, because I never want to put my son through that. I never want to go down that road. And so as long as I keep that memory in my mind, at the front of my mind, I will not repeat that same behavior ever again. And so I know I like I said, I'm very emotional. My son is the most important thing to me. But I'm telling you guys, like, this is also a way that I make sure that I never go out and use again, you know? And so, anyways, I feel like I just totally had a counseling session on here. But I hope that just me sharing with you guys what I go through and what I think about and how my addiction affected me and my family, I hope that that helps you guys too. And I hope that you guys know that, you know, it's okay to be by yourself. And it's actually going to be amazing once you get used to it. Once you guys get stable and you start like actually loving yourself. And listen, I'm not talking like loving yourself every day. I mean, there's days where I wake up and I'm like, I'm fat as fuck. I hate myself today. But today I feel beautiful. Today I'm having a good day. And so I'm going to be on my good day today. You know what I mean? But, you don't have to let the shame and guilt keep you in a sickness. That's what I'm saying. I use what happened and what I did, my actions, to help me stay sober. And that is a tool. This is a tool for me. I used the worst time I ever went through in my addiction, which was having my son, getting him taken away. I used that as a fucking shield against my addiction. When my addiction comes to me and says, hey girl, you know you can take just one Xanax, ain't nobody gonna know. Hey girl, just get some meth, you'll lose a lot of weight. I think about the time my son got taken away from me. And then I say, no, I'm not fucking doing that shit. Because with my luck, this is my luck. I'll go out and relapse one time, and I'll fucking do some stupid shit like wreck my car with my child in it, or fucking call the law on myself, and CPS will be here all over again. You know what I mean? So that is why I share about what I've gone through. You know what I mean? So, and it helps me. Like, I want people to know that when you're in your addiction, if you're pregnant, or even if you're not pregnant, don't be ashamed to reach out for help. Don't be ashamed to call somebody and say, I'm struggling and I need help. Do not fucking be ashamed, you guys. Like, I wish that I would have asked for help way sooner. I wished that I would have not been ashamed. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I could have gotten sober then anyway, but I wish that I had been more open like I am now. You know what I mean? But anyway, I love you guys. I'm sorry I get so emotional. Shame and guilt's hard for me because I still go through a lot of it to this day. And I try to use it in a positive way, like I said, to help me stay sober. What? Brandy, I don't know what you're talking about, girl. Brandy said possibly preventing another. Who's preventing moms to get on that? Look at you now. Your videos are helping others. Okay, sorry. And if you're pregnant and you need to get on Suboxone, you guys, there's hundreds of places, at least I know there's a lot of places that can help you with that. And I mean, the place I work for, we help people that are pregnant get on Subutex. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I use my darkest times as motivation, you guys, to help me push forward. So don't get it twisted. Yeah, I'm emotional. I cry about it. It's because it's a deep-rooted situation, but it really is something that I use to propel myself forward, okay, and to help myself. You know what, Brandy? There are online too. Online telemedicine places that you can go to. If you want to DM me on TikTok or Instagram, it's Real Talk Recovery on both. Real Talk Recover on TikTok and Real Talk Recovery on Instagram. And I will send you the resources, okay? But yeah, I'm going to get off here. I need to charge my phone more. And then I got to do this again on TikTok at 9. Okay, so I love you guys, and I'll see y'all later. Next Friday, we got a special guest coming on. My boy, B Magic, Brian, is coming on. Tara's husband that was on a couple of weeks ago. All right? Love y'all.